Rick, how you doing?
Well, good, Keith. How are you doing, my man?
Man, I'm feeling like I'm underdressed. You look fantastic.
Oh, this used to be a T-shirt, but then I just made a kind of a 3D thing. So, well, actually, here's the story. You want to hear the story?
I want to hear the story.
It's a sad story, so I hope nobody cries at home. But here it is. I never went to my senior prom, and now we're in prom season. So tonight I dressed up, and I'm planning to crash a high school prom.
I like it.
Is that good?
You will definitely be successful in crashing it. No doubt.
I'll be arrested, I'm sure. Child Protective Services will swoop in. The guy with the white hair is
That's right.
doing weird stuff in the corner.
Well, if I get in any kind of like incident with the law, you're my first phone call. Who's your first?
Oh man, you know, I'll tell you, there are two guys in town who do really great work, but they're both so expensive, I think I just stay in jail.
Okay. Well, good deal. So today's topic is on
Monkey mind.
Well, when you first told me about monkey mind or introduced the term to me, I had no idea what you meant. Can you describe it for the folks out there?
Oh, sure. Monkey mind is basically the idea that there is this out of control, unmitigated pattern of thoughts that you have all day long. It's about, let's say, okay, I'm focusing on my kneecaps. I see my fingers. Somebody just cut me off. I got to pick up my kid at 2 o'clock. Oh, I wonder if I'll get that project done. Oh, we have to have dinner today. Just a constant stream of unmitigated, unstoppable thoughts that are just raging through your mind all the time.
Got you. Okay.
And it's not specific to any individual or any culture. It's all of us, everywhere in the world. That's just part of what it means to be a human being. So the notion is that as long as you, as an individual, let the monkey mind roll, you'll never have inner peace or contentment or calmness. And what we forget about is that we have the ability to control our thoughts. We can actually do that. We can slow down, we can calm down, and we can remind ourselves and remember that we are the thinker behind the thought. We're not the dang brain.
Right.
You know, the brain's a tool.
Absolutely.
We're controlling the tool. But that's a little bit of a mindset that's tricky to get into, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, you know, when you talk about when you first talked to me about the monkey mind, I'm gonna be honest. You know, it tripped me out because I never heard it before.
Well, do you experience it though?
All the time I experience it, and it's just like you described it. It's one thought leads to another, and I'll find myself thinking about one thing, and a second later I'm off like 1,000 miles away from that initial thought.
Exactly.
And it's crazy. Like I could be working on a work project, and then my mind will think about somebody that I worked with, and then it'll go on to something that they like to do, to something that I like to do, about the last time I did that I got injured, to I can't do that anymore, and it just rolls down this hill, and it seems as if I can't stop it or control it. So can you control it?
Well, I can't control it very well. I mean, there are people who can do it really, really well in certain cultures, but I'm sort of a beginner at it myself. And I think the best way to do that is through meditation, which we've talked about before.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of different ways of meditating. It's not necessarily sitting cross-legged, you know, and trying to make your mind blank. There's lots of ways to meditate. For example, one great way of meditating is a walking meditation where you're out in nature.
Right.
And if you can take your shoes and socks off and go through grass, that's even better. Touch the earth, that's even better. But the idea is to calm your mind and just to allow yourself the opportunity not to have any thoughts. Very tricky, hard to do, not thinking. But one way you do it is, as a thought comes up, you might say, excuse me, you might say, okay, thought, thinking. Or you might say, thought, next. Or you might just want to say, breathing. That's one great thing about the seated meditation, is that your focus is no longer on the process of your brain, but your thinking is only on your breath. You're focusing on your breath in, holding it, your breath out. And you try to allow every other thought to feel like Teflon, you know, that comes in and bounces right off of Teflon, it doesn't stay.
Exactly. So would you say that the monkey mind is just thoughts that really like serve no purpose? I mean, and they kind of distract you from the present moment. Is that one way? Is that one thing the monkey mind does?
I think it does, Keith. But thinking is really important to all of us, and I don't think we can ever get to the point where we're controlling all of our thoughts all the time. But we have to have a certain part of our day where we're not thinking or engaged in all of that. And we have to be mindful, and this is another important concept, the idea of mindfulness. Be mindful of what it is that's going through your head, so you know you're controlling it or you're not controlling it.
Right. When I think about the monkey mind and the things that I read about it, with Eckhart Tolle, and some of the things that he talked about was how you want to be the thinker, the observer behind your thoughts, and when you're not, you become a victim of them. And so you can start.
That's a great insight.
Yeah, you become a victim of them, and so you can. So an event could happen, and your monkey mind will often, partnering with the ego, will start to take you in a direction that isn't helpful. And when I say helpful, I mean keeping you calm, keeping you peaceful. Which I think if a person had a choice from being anxious or in stress versus calm and peaceful, I think most people would choose to be calm and peaceful. And so it takes you out of that. And if you're not calm and peaceful with yourself, then when you're around other people, you rob them of experiencing that kind of energy from you and with you. So an example would be, I got a speeding ticket a while back. And in the speeding ticket, the monkey mind is running. Like all this happens in the speeding ticket, but it takes off as soon as I get over. And the first thought is, first of all, there's no ownership at all that I was speeding. Let's step over that. But the monkey mind just started racing as I was waiting for the guy to get off his bike, come and walk to the window. He goes back there for what I think is like an hour to input my insurance information and make sure that my license and registration is up to date. And I'm thinking about, what is he doing here? This is not a big crime. There are other things out there that are more worth his time, and things like that. What am I gonna do with the speeding ticket? The points on my insurance. How many other cars are speeding in front of me? Is it going to make my premium go up? I mean, it just keeps going. I'm late for this next thing that I'm gonna do. When's the last time I got a ticket? I'm gonna have to now I'm gonna have to go to driving school, and it just keeps going, and it doesn't stop. And then after that event is over, which is something I can't change anymore, I continue to think about it that night, the next week, the next month, and here it is now 6 months later, and I'm talking to you about it. I mean, so the monkey mind just doesn't stop, and all the time that I'm spending thinking about that, I am separate from the present moment. And all the people that are around me and enjoying the energy with them, or some of life's opportunities to grow and learn. So it just robs me of that, and the people around me just get a distracted me that at best half of me is present for the conversation and interaction with them. So I think that's the cost of the monkey mind. And one of the things that Eckhart Tolle said that you could do is that you can breathe, like the breathing exercises, which you've taught a lot of people in ToBeRe over the years with the meditation CD. But if you focus on the breath, it becomes easy to be the observer behind the thoughts and behind the thinker, behind the monkey mind. And what he suggested was, because it's a tough thing to do, to be mindful of your thoughts, is he said if you get on the elevator every day when you go to work, he said use that time instead of breaking out your phone, or any time where what I found myself doing is any time that I'm idle, it could be a minute or two if I'm waiting for somebody. Instead of being there doing a breathing exercise, I whip up my phone.
That's impressive.
Yeah, any moment I do. He says, so you do that countless times throughout the day. Why not use that time to just practice on the breath? And if a thought comes, like you said, like Teflon, just like, okay, thank you, but no thank you, and just push it away and things like that. And then just continue to work on the breath for that elevator ride up, whether it's a few seconds or whether it's a full minute. But that's something you're going to do on a regular basis every day. Or while you're in the shower and the water is running all over you, just use that as an opportunity to just be with the breath and be the observer behind the thoughts. And I've been practicing that, and it's really, really helped me.
I bet.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing that helped me too. There's an application that you can use on your phone that's free, and it's called Headspace, Headspace, and it'll be on the show notes. But this was developed by a Buddhist monk who's also, I think, a psychologist, and the idea was to use a simple reminder every day that you should be in meditation maybe for a minute or two. There's also another opportunity here, and that's something that a fellow named John Kabat-Zinn has suggested, again in the show notes, who suggests that part of mindfulness is being aware of what's happening with the monkey mind, being aware of what's
Right.
rattling up in and up that you can't control at all, just being aware of it.
Right.
And then stopping for a moment and trying to figure out, okay, of all the things that are going through my head, what do I need right now to be effective? And if I'm being mindful about it, if I'm aware of it, the key is not judging it. Okay?
Right.
Not judging it. So you don't say, oh, I'm thinking about that again. Oh, I don't want, it's dead. No. You just notice, oh, yeah, okay, so this thought came in. I have this thought. I'm still thinking about it, and then dismiss it. I think the key is that you want to get to the point where you're using the mind as a tool and you're making it mellow.
Right.
And it can help you in a way where you can focus so the mind and the intellect is on that particular problem.
Right.
But not that you're all over scattered doing all of this other nonsense that really is painful.
It's totally painful, and another example really quick would be someone who is, we care about looking good to other people, avoiding looking bad, them seeing the real us. And so let's say someone doesn't say hello to you. Then the monkey mind just starts racing. They didn't say hello to me, or they didn't like my post on Facebook, or I didn't get that many likes, and it just starts going on and on. Did I say something the wrong
Yeah,
way?
we do that.
We do it all the time, and it's just a waste of energy and time taken from the present moment. So those are some of the things of how the monkey mind has shown up for me and a few other people that I've talked to. How has it shown up for you, and what have been some of the costs?
Oh man, well, a lot of times you just miss present moments with people. I remember when I was a young father, I remember being really focused on things that were happening that were external, and I was dealing with those, and here's my little guy and I were playing a game or something, doing something that's really cool, and I remember he would ask me questions about stuff and right over my
Right.
head because I was focused, I was in another planet.
Right.
Well, that's one example. Another example I think that is fairly common too is that when this is terrible in our culture now because we have so much electronic contact.
Absolutely.
When you're focusing on that, you're not focusing on the person across from you.
Right.
And frankly, that's really irritating to me. I hate the idea that somebody else is trying to, do this, texting and all of that stuff, while I'm trying to have a conversation with them. I think it's rude and bad. But I also think it takes a toll on the person who's doing that.
Right.
They think they're great multitaskers. All the studies show nobody can multitask.
There's no such thing as multitasking.
You've got to do one thing, man. That's
right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think there are a lot of costs to it. Dr. Amit Sood, Samitsood, of the Mayo Clinic, and that'll be in the show notes. He talked about, from something that you said, was, that thinking isn't a bad thing. And in the beginning, the thinking was very important for physical danger, to be in a heightened state or to have the mind running so that you could be careful when you were in some kind of physical danger.
Just to recognize the danger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, and now, while we in this country aren't faced, most people aren't faced with immediate physical danger, it's still nice to have some level of thinking going on that you are not maybe conscious of in the periphery. So let's say that I am talking to Rick and I'm in a present conversation, but part of my mind and is scanning everything for me. So when it's tried to approach me from the side peripherally, I'd see them and I'll be able to get out of the way.
Yeah.
So in that way, he describes it as being helpful. But in the ways it's not helpful is when it brings on anxiety and stress. And now some of the dangers which aren't life-threatening are, the mind cannot distinguish between the two, what's a real threat and what's a perceived threat. So if you are someone who really cares about being liked, and for example, we talked about the Facebook post, and your likes aren't up and people aren't responding in the way that you want to respond, that can feel like impacting your likability. People loving you, people thinking highly of you, and all those things. And so it becomes a stressful situation. And if you're not practicing self-care, and it begins with the mind, nutrition, sleeping,
So true.
physical exercise is super important,
great,
but the mental part of it is more important than all of that. But if you're not practicing that, there's been studies that show that it impacts your ability for the body to heal itself, or to assist with the healing if it's some kind of serious ailment that you're dealing with. Not to mention that your whole life is just what is going to be the next threat or the next shoe to drop. And so all of that compromises well-being.
You know, one other thing, that's a wonderful encapsulation of the whole issue. One thing that I think people don't realize is the toll that the monkey mind takes. Give an example. Let's suppose that I had just a glass of water, okay? If I had this glass of water and I was holding it right here, and Keith were to say to me, how much does that glass of water weigh? I might say a couple ounces. But if you hold that glass of water for like the duration of a show,
right,
or for an hour,
yes,
or for 2 or 3, and that arm starts to weaken, it starts to get really painful. All you can do is focus on that. Well, if you liken the glass of water, metaphorically, liken that to anxiety, and continually thinking about stuff that you can't control, continually being upset, continually having this problem with whatever's in that glass, after a while, that glass is going to dominate your life.
Absolutely.
So the point of the monkey mind, getting rid of it or controlling it, is at least to take a break from that, sort of delete, recalibrate yourself. And you do that through the meditation and through being mindful of what it is that's going on in your life, and without judging, recognize that those are thoughts that really are not threats at all.
Absolutely. And I think, to close the show out, and I'll let you give a big idea at the end or a tip, is I think one of the big keys is if the monkey mind is going to run, there's nothing you can do about it. But as Rick said, you want to become mindful of it and practice learning how to control it. And part of that is having a daily practice of working on it. Just like if you have an idea of what your body should look like, one workout is not going to produce a body in the kind of fitness that you can sustain forever. You have to continue to do that daily. And so you have to be committed and hopefully enjoy the journey and all the workouts to produce your ideal, your optimal health, the body that you want.
That's true.
The same thing with the monkey mind. You want to get to the point to where it becomes a daily practice. So if it's something that you can tie to something that you have to do anyway, breathing, you have to do it, if you want to live on this planet, and associate that with an activity that you do every day, which is, I'm going to go into the kitchen and the coffee is going to take 2 minutes to get ready. And you just let the coffee do its thing. And during that time, you're just going to sit and breathe and do what Rick said about, just being aware of the thoughts that are coming in. Be intentional about what you want to think on. And then when the mind kind of drifts away, you just kind of bring it back with the breath and things like that and focus on the breath. Or like I mentioned, the example of taking the elevator up to the floor to where you have to get off. Instead of getting on your phone and things like that, then you are actually practicing being mindful or doing a breathing meditation. All of this is to practice being the observer behind the thinker, behind the monkey mind, so that you can be present for all of life's opportunities, as well as all of life's healthy goodness that come along the way, and enjoy time with people you care about.
You are on your game, man. Well, here's my big takeaway for the show.
Thank you.
Never wear a tie when you're sitting next to Keith Jones, because it doesn't do you any good. He's still going to be the handsome dude, the powerful dude, and there's nothing you can do to compete.
Whatever.
Okay, one big takeaway, one footnote. He did such a great job of summing up, left me with little to do. One little footnote on that. Keep in mind that all of the stuff, I would say 99% of the stuff, and this is consistent with what Tolle and others say,
right.
99% of the stuff that runs through your head is totally irrelevant to your life and to your happiness. So, do you want to be happy? Right? You want to be happy?
Right.
So let that stuff go. We're imagining things that come to us or that are threats to us that are not threats at all. And there was a value, as you said, historically, in us having that kind of ability to ferret out all of the danger. But that's been done for us. We live in a culture that pretty much protects us. And so the concept of having to worry about that, having to deal with every possible threat is ridiculous. So don't punish yourself. Most of what you do is punishment for yourself. Be happy, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you get that call from, the judge that's saying, hey, listen, I need to see you in my office because, this wasn't what I asked for.
Are you tapping my phone?
Yeah, I am, right? So if you get that call, on a Friday and he wants to see you on Monday, the monkey mind can run rampant with all kind of scenarios, most of which will never come true. And if they do come true, there's nothing you can do about it anyway, right? So why waste that whole weekend thinking about things you can't control? That's the monkey mind doing is just running rampant.
Deal with it when it shows up, okay? Don't punish yourself until then.
That's right. Rick, thank you for another great show, my friend.
I love this one, man.
Thank you.
It was cool.
Okay.